Sometimes I feel like it has never been harder for me to take care of my health. I ain't got no one looking after me. No one cares about my legs but myself, you know? That is what being an adult remote worker is like, but I have to take care of myself, and that is why I'm so grateful that today's sponsor, ZocDoc, helps to make that a little bit easier. I got in a car accident a couple weeks ago, and I'm fine, and when it happened, I felt fine, but I didn't know I was fine because I'm not a doctor. So I used ZocDoc to connect with a doctor who was, get this, in walking distance to me, because I didn't have a car, and they took my health insurance. And I got that appointment in just one day, and now I have that official seal of approval that I am fine. ZocDoc lets you search and compare high-quality in-network doctors. You can see their actual appointment times and click to instantly book an appointment. No phone tag, no checking around with different offices or hospitals or secretaries, just all the doctors, all the insurance options, all the specialties in one easy-to-navigate platform. And appointments happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours, and you can even book same-day appointments. They really make it so easy to prioritize your health and get the care you need, and on top of that, it's completely free to use. I really care about your health because you can't watch my videos if you perish. And taking care of your health just got easier, so do yourself and me a favor and head to ZocDoc.com/sleepy to get started and check that appointment off your to-do list. Thanks so much to ZocDoc for sponsoring and helping us all take a little bit better care of our health. So you think you got what it takes, huh? To be an ASMR artist? Well, I also think that you have what it takes. I absolutely think you have what it takes. I would love it if you started making ASMR videos because I love watching ASMR. And my favorite thing about ASMR is how diverse it is. I love the diversity of ways that there is to do ASMR, to be an ASMR artist. And I love how iterative the space is. And what I mean by that is that there's these, kind of trends of triggers. And we as consumers love to see different people do them. We want to see how you do the face touching, or the scratchy, or the coconut, or the we want to see how you do the head touching and everything. I love that because it feels like as much as we are partaking in the sort of communal ritual of trying out these different triggers, we're also filtering the triggers through ourselves and kind of celebrating our individuality that way. No one is going to tap on something exactly the way that JoJo taps on things. No one is going to do visual triggers and posing and with as much aura as Kelly Belly in like her particular way. So there are these like ways that we're filtering these triggers through ourselves, and they become something new and interesting and engaging and delightful and wonderful. And because of that, I think that everyone can be an ASMR artist because there's something about each and every one of us that is so uniquely tingly. So I want you to sit back and relax. You can close your eyes if you want, or you can keep them open. And I just want you to imagine what kind of ASMR you would make and what kind of ASMR artist you would be if all of these triggers and ideas were filtered through your body. How would they manifest most naturally? Because I do think that all of us have a sort of instinct whenever it comes to how we perform various ASMR triggers. And those instincts can be kind of mapped out on a couple different spectra, So one of those is the fast to slow spectrum, right? There's fast, fast, fast. And then there's slow, 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 slow. And then there's the predictable to unpredictable spectrum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 17, 24, 57, 179. Right? And then there's the personal to impersonal spectrum. I can't really do impersonal ASMR because my face is in frame, but I think y'all know what I'm talking about, you know, soap carving, slime poking, and I love all that. I love trigger focused videos, but I ain't got that dog in me. I get too bored, so I have to yap, you know. It's a sin, really. But I am more on the personal side of the spectrum of impersonal to personal, impersonal to personal, impersonal to personal. Although some might say that creators who never do role plays at all and who only do sort of trigger focused but also like face in video engaging with their audience. Kelly Belly's probably a pretty good example of that. I think she does have some role plays, but not like crazy extravagant ones. That's kind of the most personal, or Patrick's ASMR, right? Because those channels are kind of personality driven and focused on triggers, and then a little bit less on that spectrum is probably someone like me who is very personality forward, but I also do some intricate role plays. But then there's people who are so locked in to a fully scripted cinematographic, what's that word? Cinematic. People who are so locked into a cinematic experience, atmosphere ASMR, where that's maybe less personal, even though it's like very face forward, but it's like so cinematic that it's on the other side of that spectrum, right? And then there's the probably least personal ASMRs, like the soap carving, the slime poking, you know, no face. And then, of course, there's the hi-fi to lo-fi, or maybe I should say lo-fi to hi-fi, lo-fi to hi-fi spectrum. And I really do think that one of the most important things that you can do to lay the foundation of your channel is kind of discover where on those spectrums you have the most fun. Because that is like your niche. Because you have to have fun. I have the most fun with slow and gentle and unpredictable, backwards sort of triggers. That's what I have fun with, so that's what I do. I can do fast. And then, can you turn your head this way? Okay, I just want to make sure that thing just pulled out this little thing over there. And then look down, alright? Let me just make sure that okay, you're at the top of your head. Is good. And now open. I can do that, but it's honestly stressful for me. I do it sometimes. But I could never make a whole channel of that, y'all. My brain don't work that way. But I do like unpredictable stuff. So I like to, you know, stay in a very playful space in my brain where I'm always thinking about, you know, slowly and gently touching little objects. Touching 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But then I like to, make a little twist. We'll touch their neck instead. Touch their neck, touch their neck. And then turn them upside down. Now all the blood is rushing to their head, and we can shake out all their brain so that their head is completely empty. Let's make sure that their head is completely empty. Let's make sure their head's completely empty by, Yep. Their brains just got empty air bubbles in it. That's how we like it. I like to keep things a little unpredictable, but still generally slow and gentle. Slow and gentle. Where some people really thrive with doing slow and gentle, but fully predictable. Those are your, accurate cranial nerve examinations. Would you have fun scripting and performing a fully accurate experience for the viewers? Because if that's who you are, that's what you should do. And you should never pressure yourself to go wild and get crazy with it. There's some creators that do, incredibly historically accurate doctor role plays, and I love those because I can tell that the creator, the ASM artist, is oftentimes an actual academic or a history nerd or in school, and it's their fixation, and so they really want to represent it accurately, and I think that's so cool. And sometimes it's lo-fi, right? So they're on the lo-fi side of that spectrum, but it's still predictable, so the scripting and the actions will be historically accurate, historically sound. It'll be a very normal, caring doctor, but they're just gonna probably maybe have a green screen that's kind of got some holes in it, and it's gonna be a little scuffed, and I love that. And then there's people who do it in the hi-fi way, where it's they have a whole set, and they have sound design, and they have multiple different camera angles, and it's historically accurate. Oh my gosh, blowing my mind. All of those things are beautiful and wonderful. And if you were to become an ASM artist, you should choose the one that is most fun for you. And then once you have that anchor, once you know, okay, I'm someone who gravitates more towards performing slow ASMR that is predictable, you can use those sort of boundaries and limitations to come up with ideas like describing numbers slowly and gently. This is a 4. Can you count to 4 for me? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. This is 3. Can you count to 3 for me? Can you count to 3 for me? 1, 2, 3. And what's one thing that you saw 3 of today? Can you think of something that you saw 3 of today? Excellent. And this is 2. 2. 2. Can you think of how to say 2 in Espanol? Espanol, Espanol, Espanol. Dos, 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 dos. Very good. This is gentle and predictable and relaxing. It's so relaxing, isn't it? And I love watching these sorts of role plays to go to sleep. This is what I actually watch to go to sleep. slow, gentle, predictable. I really like follow my instructions videos to go to sleep. I really like light triggers to go to sleep, to go to sleep, to go to sleep, to go to sleep. I like personal content to go to sleep, to go to sleep, to go to sleep, to go to sleep. What I tend to make is different from what I consume. There is crossover. It's a Venn diagram. But I think that understanding what you enjoy making is so, so very important if you want to create ASMR. And I think another important thing is to, notice trends and discover how they filter through you, right? Discover how the coconut discover how the coconut rain will filter through you, because it will be unique. And that's how we iterate instead of like copy, right? It's a very soft line between the two. It's not like one's illegal. Plagiarism, pshaw. That is undemocratic. An undemocratic idea. Within limits. But that is how we iterate, and we make things unique, and we make things our own, and that's kind of how we, I think, build an audience that likes us, that enjoys our content, rather than an audience that is like, I don't know, they just wound up there or something. But yes, I think it's good to notice trends and then discover what you do with them. Discover what you do with them. Discover how you have fun with them. What happens when they filter through you. And never, ever, ever worry about trying to capture a specific audience with like branding. Branding in general is fine. That's just, I think, an activity that you have to do. You gotta choose a profile picture. That's just always gonna be the way it is. But whenever people do ask me for advice, I always caution them against like trying to become something so that they capture a specific audience. We create our audiences. I think those are like the most fun audiences because they're unique. And also whenever you, instead of trying to change yourself into being a content creator, whenever you at least attempt to approach it with authenticity, you have much fewer regrets, because you can always look back and say like, oh, that's who I was, which is way less embarrassing than looking back and thinking, oh, that's when I was trying to like appeal to that thing, and that's kind of like cringe now or not in vogue or whatever. I think that striving for authenticity always gives you a life with a little bit more peace and less regrets. And being authentic doesn't mean that you have to be on that like personal side of the spectrum of personal to impersonal. Being authentic, in my opinion, means doing what you enjoy. And if that's soap carving, faceless channel soap carving, or if that's being a character and playing that character out accurately and fully, if that's what you enjoy, then like doing that is authentic. It becomes inauthentic if you're like, oh, it would be popular right now if I did like a Jinx League of Legends roleplay, but I literally hate makeup and I'm gonna hate making this video. Don't do that. Don't subject yourself to that. Maybe do it every now and then, if you feel like you gotta, or if you feel like you really want to like try and expand yourself in a new direction, see if you can find a way to like something, that's fine. Experimenting. We love experimenting. But never make that like the basis of how you choose what to do. You know? I think that's all the best advice I have for how to become an ASMR artist. I love making ASMR. It does truly feel like a celebration of individuality. I think all of those little things that are different about us ASMR artists are oftentimes the most tingly things, you know? There's certain creators who have talked about their insecurities publicly before, and almost every time that happens, I think in my head, like, oh, that is exactly the reason that I like you. You know, there's certain creators who, whenever they're doing their number tracing, you can see that their hand is trembling because they just have a little tremor. And they feel self-conscious about it, but that's exactly what is so tingly about it. Or they have a weird voice, but that's exactly what's tingly about it. Or they have, you know, a sort of 1,000-yard stare that they can't take off their face, and that's exactly what is so tingly about it. Or they have, like, the opposite, like, eyes that, like, bore into your soul, and that's so tingly. So yeah, all of your little weird things that make you a little bit different and make you stand out, for better or for worse, those are exactly where good iteration bursts through. And I just want to finish by saying that that's, again, my favorite thing about ASMR, is how diverse it is. How diverse it is. I love that there's literally an infinite number of ways to tap on shit. So yeah, I don't usually make videos like this, you know, but there's been so many people, like, over the years who've asked me for advice. I never feel like I'm good enough to give advice, but I decided to pretend. Decided to pretend for fun. And also because I like the whole spectrum thing. I like the spectrum idea. I think it's good. It's a useful imagination exercise for you to kind of discover your own self, your own energy. I used to have this theater professor, Rick. God bless you, Rick. God bless Rick. And he was one of my best acting teachers, and he was an actor and a director, and he had an icebreaker exercise called Up When I Go Up, Up When I Go Up, Up When I Go Up, Up When I Go Up. But it wasn't actually an icebreaker exercise. It was something that we did physically in a circle. It was like a body movement thing. But the real reason why he did it was because it is a movement that, when filtered through a body, filtered through a soul, a unique soul and a unique body, it has a way of identifying your theatrical type. So he would have us all, you know, at the beginning of the year, whenever he was meeting new students, he would have us all do the Up When I Go Up thing, because it gave him insight into who we were as actors, as performers. If we were a sister, a criminal, a queen, a pirate, a bad boy, a grandma, he would see us do Up When I Go Up, and he would have sort of an immediate understanding of, like, what we were theatrically. And yeah, I think so many ASMR triggers are like that too. And it's just magical. It's just magical. So, yeah. I'd love to see how you tap on things. You know what? Oh my gosh. I'm always paranoid about asking my audience for anything, because it's, like, really embarrassing when, like, nothing happens. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. This is at the end of the video. This is at the very end of the video. So, so it won't be embarrassing because only like 2 or 3 of you are still awake at this point. No one's gonna remember this. It's gonna be fine. But if you are trying to be a new ASMR artist, if you are a new ASMR artist, and you want to like use those couple spectrums as a way of introducing yourself, the fast to slow spectrum, talking about which one you find more fun, which one you find more natural, fast to slow, predictable to unpredictable, personal to impersonal, lo-fi to hi-fi. If you wanted to kind of use that as a framework to introduce yourself, I think that would be pretty cool. I would definitely watch it if, you like tagged me or whatever. I also have a Discord. If you wanted to like pop it in the Discord, then I would definitely see it. But if you just tag me on YouTube, I usually see stuff. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I would love to see how you tap on things. I would love to see how you tap on things. I would love to see how you do coconut, 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 coconut. I'd love to see how you do that. I'd love to see how you sk, sk, sk. Usually my preferred sk, sk is actually shk, shk. I'm a big fan of shk, 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 shk. Good night, my friends. I have rambled for far too long. Sleep well.